Chairperson Carson?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Kunish?
Here, however, I will be recusing myself today from discussion or voting on this matter as I'm waiting for reappointment from the town council.
Thank you. Member Schaefer?
Present.
Member Shimon?
Present.
Member Willahan?
Here.
If the board has reviewed minutes from the January 23rd, 2023 meeting, I ask if there are any corrections to the minutes. Hearing none, I will accept a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I move the minutes of the January 23, 2023 minutes be accepted as submitted.
May I have a second? And approved. Action items this evening, as noted before, is variance number B23001. On the application of Lawrence Beaudry, agent for the property owner, request for a variance per section 13-21-060.C.3 and 13-21-120.A.2.B of the Town of Prescott Valley zoning ordinance in order to allow deviations from setbacks due to recent changes in personal circumstances. The subject property is located at 4141 North Gelding Circle, APN number 10338-567. Ms. Berrigan.
I'm sorry, Chair, if I may, could we advise the applicant that there will be only 4 members present to vote today? And they could, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Since member Kunish has recused himself, we do not have a full board voting tonight. Applicants in the audience, we do not have the full board present at tonight's meeting. Pursuant to Article 13-29-060, you have the right to request that your item be deferred to a future meeting date when the full 5-member board is present. A board approval or denial requires a majority vote. The motion will not pass if there are less than a majority of affirmative votes. Do you wish to proceed?
Yes, I do.
Very well. Ms. Berrigan.
Good evening, board members. Before you this evening, we have a variance as stated to, from application Lawrence Beaudry, agent for the property owner. This is a request to deviate from the standard setback requirements on the front, side, and rear. The property is located approximately half a mile from where we are here today, north, and it is in an R1L 10 district that is residential limited, and the required setbacks for that district is 7 feet from the side, 25 from the rear, and 25 from the front. The applicant did provide a survey showing the distance from the property lines that the structure is currently at. Oh, let me change this. So you can see the location here. So this is the violation that's in question, that he is applying for a variance. The structure it was a code violation. It was built without a permit, and you can see here the survey that shows that they currently do meet the setbacks. This is what the applicant has provided. He is showing a couple of shed-like structures in the rear, as well as on the side. It does not represent exactly what's in the code violation picture. You had an opportunity to see that in your packet. That's another visual, and you can see there that the applicant has a couple of recreational vehicles that he is wanting to keep on his property and to keep covered, is building this shade structure for that RV. So here's the code section that shows the applicable codes, showing that the accessory buildings cannot be less than 3 feet. Any detached structure there in the rear would have to, every 10 feet would have to be, every 10 feet in height, they would have to add an additional linear foot to the rear. So he is asking for deviations from that as well. Staff wasn't able to find anything to support the request, and therefore we would ask that you deny the request. The applicant is here if you have any further questions. Thank you.
I'll open the item. Questions or comments from the board or staff? I'm sorry, did I miss it? What is your recommendation?
There were no findings to support a variance would not be of a special treatment to this lot. All these surrounding lots maintain the same setbacks. The applicant has been living at this property for over 11 years, has enjoyed it for over 11 years. There have been recent personal circumstances, health-wise, and also the purchase of additional recreational vehicles that the applicant would like to maintain those recreational vehicles, the boat and the 2 RVs on his property. Our code states that that would be a self-imposed hardship. So there was nothing in the zoning code that would support any kind of approval.
Any other questions for staff?
I have no questions.
At this point, we'll invite the applicant to address the board.
Thank you.
Lawrence Beaudry, addresses 4141 Gelding Circle, Prescott Valley. Lawrence Beaudry, I reside at 4141 North Gelding Circle.
If you would just stand a little closer to the microphone.
Okay. Okay, with the one thing I would like to, what she said, that there is no surrounding within our neighborhood. There are multiple addresses a stone throw from my house that have, or closer to the property lines. They're actually closer. I have pictures showing that there's a 2-story structure a block behind us, that I don't know if they got a variance or the city approved it. I don't know, but I have photos showing that there's a lot of structures in our area, carports and 2-story structures that are being built. I don't know if they're within code guidelines. I don't think they are. When I've spoke with the city, when I asked them how they were able to get them built, all I get is I don't know. And I've worked for UPS for many years, and I'd driven around, I don't know if you guys read my narrative. Okay, and it explains it how I asked a lot of people about these before I started this project. And they all said they didn't need a permit. That's why I had no idea. I mean, a lot of these things are Versatubes, the Versatubing sheds that get delivered, carports. So that's probably what I was going off of. I never asked anybody, I guess, that I thought it was being a detached carport wouldn't need one. And the person who was actually building it for me, he was instructed by the city that, or the town, that move it off the property line, you don't need a permit. So I went off of his say too, firsthand. And then that Monday morning when I got the city down on me, I was like, okay, fine, let's do this right. And then I keep on hearing all these setbacks, which I asked Pat about one of them, like the one that, the 50% rule. Why is that? Who comes up with that number? That it has to be 50% the line. He said, so I'm not too close to my neighbor's house. And is that correct? I don't know if I'm allowed to ask him or not. Okay,
Sorry, you can go on with your narrative, but it's not a time to ask
okay.
staff.
No
But
problem.
you can, feel free to continue with what.
Okay, so I was told that there was a reason for that 50%. So I'd be X amount of feet away from my property line, or from my neighbor's property. And I did measurements. I don't know if you got a picture of one. I don't know if I'm allowed to give them a copy of what I have.
Was this given as a part of his application for the? If it's not a part of your application, no, sorry, sir.
Pardon me?
It's not a part of your application for the variance itself.
Okay.
and-
Okay, well, by the city guidelines, if I build it, cut it back, besides the financial hardship, having to remove the concrete to get these footings out, it'd be a painstaking, it'd be a lot of work cutting out the footings that I put in. But at the current distance from the carport in the front portion of it, I'm at 26 feet. By code, I'm allowed to bring that carport up to the front of my fascia, as long as I'm set back from the property line. That would be 2 feet closer to my neighbor's property. And where they're asking me to build it at, I'd be at 28 feet, 2 foot difference. So it's not a big difference between the front of the house, if you understand what I'm talking about. I know some of you guys drove by. I don't know who all drove by my property and looked at it. But it's an unusual shaped lot too. We're in a pie shape, not a conventional side by side. And the carport actually sits behind the halfway point of our house. If you measure my neighbor's point, the gable, the very top to ours, it actually sits behind it. So it's not very close to the street at all. If you looked at the pictures. And I'm trying to think what else I wanted to. I mean, you guys read the narrative. That's pretty much. I mean, save you some time if you guys read it. Most of it's everything I wanted to write was in there, but except the financial part. Yeah, I mean, in the having to tear it down and start fresh again. I mean, I built this thing to last. I already submitted. Got an engineer involved, did everything I need to do. I'm just hoping I get your blessing to build it, finish the project. Any of you guys have questions?
Any questions from the board?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You said that you had support of your neighbors.
Yes, I do.
Did they give you letters of support?
Yes, I do.
How many neighbors?
We have 10 houses on the cul-de-sac, and I got 10 autographs. There was only one that resided.
Signed a letter that said that they
Yes,
are
sir.
in favor of it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And got one present here too. He came with me.
Question for the applicant.
Yes, sir.
Was a licensed contractor involved in this work?
No. No, we weren't told that I needed one, but now that I do have a licensed engineer who went over my plans, and he told me they're overkill. I could have went with 2x6 beams across. I went by 2x8. The footings are twice the size that they have to be. He's telling me they only had to be 18-inch square by 1 foot deep. I went 24-inch square, 10 inches deep on the outside, but in the middle where the actual bracket is, the weld plate, that's over 1 foot deep, almost 18 inches deep. It has 4 prongs. There might be pictures, I don't know if I submitted a picture of the actual weld plates, but the engineer, he says it's well within the city code here, what I built, and he's willing to put a stamp of approval on it. He just needs to go ahead to finish the report to give to the city. Yep.
Quick question on your site plan. I noticed, how many sheds do you have?
Actually, one's a trailer, one is it was an existing greenhouse that we had a hailstorm that wiped it out. So I just put a roof on it. And the other one's a portable shed it's actually a trailer. And then we only have one RV. Well, we have one boat, and then it's a slide-in camper. So we don't have two RVs, it's just one.
Any of the sheds shown on your plan permanently fixed to the site?
They are one is the one that's along the back side of the house, or back on the fence line, the easement, that is a portable on wheels. The one that's in the middle of it's a 10 by 12 foot shed. That's right in the middle of it. And that was another thing I might have mentioned on the egress side of it. I think one of them's only a foot from, if you drew a straight line down on the edge of the carport, so say this is the side, the shed's right here. The way the posts are situated, you have over 5 foot of egress to walk with, or with a wheelchair or whatever. There's no, like, I know the egress they usually request is 3 foot for the fire department. But because I'm not coming all the way down on the sides of the carport, there's plenty of egress to get around safely. I made that for me, because I'm not getting any younger.
Any further questions for the applicant? I do have one recall question for Ms. Berrigan. We've heard that of the front setback. Is the issue of the side setback also a concern?
Yes, the side on the, I'm sorry, I don't have my clicker. The side and the rear and the front, oh, thank you. I wasn't able to get a good representation with this in comparison to the record or survey that was provided. So I went with that. The rear structures look to already be encroaching into the easement. Because of the height of the structure that is being built right now, not only would it have to be set 7 feet from the side, but it would have to be an additional 1 foot from the rear for every 10 feet of height. I believe this one's about 14 feet, so that would increase the rear to 26.
So the biggest bust appears to be on the side setback.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll open the item for public discussion. Anyone care to comment?
Good evening, Chairman and Board. My name's Robbie Hool. I'm at 4140 Gelding, so I'm immediately west where the concern of the side setback would be. I look at self-imposed and financial differently. I have spent I've been there 3 years, many times helping cover this investment he has. And I know Larry's trying to protect his investment. And again, I'm the one that's immediately affected by what's being created there, and I have absolutely no issue with what's going on in there. Larry did mention the cul-de-sac. I know I've spoke to many. In fact, another one just walked in. They have zero concern. So when we look at setback or anything in that line, I'm the one that's engaged on that west side. So again, very well done, and I just ask that he has opportunity to continue on with this. So thank you for your time.
Good evening, Ben Zalaha. I actually sold 4140. I represented the seller. The reason I'm here is just as a professional perspective from a realtor that, provided the variances, something that you guys end up giving them, that as far as any potential issue with resale value or affecting the neighborhood, I don't see that being an issue. I can appreciate that potentially being a concern with the neighbors, but I've dealt with many clients over my 6 years of doing this, and specifically in that neighborhood, that's why people move into there, so they can do stuff like that. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents in from a professional perspective.
Public comments. We'll return the item to the board for discussion. Any further comments, any questions?
I have neither comment nor question.
Very good. If there are no further questions or comments, I will accept a motion.
I move that variance B23001 be denied.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the variance be denied. Clerk, please call the roll.
Member Willoughby?
No.
Member Shimmin?
This is a motion to deny, so you're voting no against that. Okay.
Member Shimmin?
Yes.
Member Schaefer?
Clarification, I apologize.
Chairman, why don't you, based on the looks that I'm seeing, why don't you restate the motion and what they're voting for, and then,
It has been moved and seconded that the variance be denied.
Okay.
A yes vote will mean that the,
Change my vote.
let him go ahead and finish, Chairman.
Misunderstood that.
It's okay.
I
Let's
vote to
recap.
deny.
Let him finish. Go ahead, Chairman, clear up the motion.
motion was to deny variance B 23001. A yes vote would mean that the variance is to be denied. A no vote would mean that the variance would be approved.
You'd rather think of it as for or against, whatever, however you see it.
Member Willoughby?
Yes.
Member Shimmin? Yes. Member Schaefer?
Yes.
Chairperson Carson?
Yes. The application is denied. At this point, is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the board on any items not related to this application? Hearing none, and there being no further business, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor, pardon me, all in favor by aye?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.